Christopher Dock was a German schoolmaster, penman, and hymn writer who immigrated to Pennsylvania around the year 1717. He became part of the Mennonite congregation at Salford, led by his minister friend, Dealman Kolb.
Christopher! God bless you!
Dealman, God bless you. God bless you, Susanna.
How do you know my name?
This is our schoolmaster, Susanna. Our former schoolmaster. He knows everyone's name.
I hope you've had a pleasant voyage across the ocean.
Christopher, Susanna's parents died on the voyage.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. May God comfort you. You've been given a good master and mistress.
Well, Christopher, what brings you out here tonight?
Well, I came over to write a will for your neighbor, Paul Freed. He's a very sick man.
Oh, yes, I know. The grandsons and I were just over there last week helping with the planting.
How are your grandsons?
They're fine boys. The hope of my life. Dillman's getting tall and strong, and Michael is quite a handler of horses.
But neither of them gets good schooling.
Yes, I'm worried about that. I'm worried about all the children. You know, some are getting wild.
There is an awful lot of violence around these days.
We do all we can for the boys. Just last night I was telling Michael some stories from the Martyrs Mirror. You know, if this book were in German rather than Dutch, then we'd have something to start from.
Now, you know they can read some of these stories in the back of the hymn book.
Michael doesn't read.
14 years old and doesn't read?
He doesn't get anything out of school. The school teacher comes to school drunk. The boys keep the room in an uproar all day.
I know about that school teacher at Salford. He's an unhappy soul. It seems we're getting a lot of immigrants like that in America these days.
You know, Christopher, it's been, 10 years since you quit teaching? 10 long years since our children received good training.
You know the position of a schoolmaster, Dealman.
Well, I know when you were schoolmaster, the children all loved you.
And I loved them.
I know the pay is awfully low.
Well, now, it's not the pay, Dealman. I didn't come to America to get rich.
None of us did. But then, why did you quit? Your heart was in it.
People don't understand how a schoolmaster feels in this strange land.
But here you have freedom.
Yes, freedom from the government. But you don't have the authority you need to carry out your work in your community.
Christopher, you have authority. The authority of love.
Do you think that's enough? I started losing my temper with the bad boys. I felt the joy of my vocation slipping away.
Everyone in Skippack was very satisfied with you as schoolmaster. Christopher, if you go back to teaching, we'll see that you're paid enough.
You hurt me, Dealman, when you say it's money. That's not it.
Morning, Hans. Morning, how's the school teacher?
Oh, not so bad. Morning, Jacob.
Morning.
We have time for school this morning, Jacob?
No, we got too much work to do today.
You want your boy to learn to write, don't you?
No, the only time I ever had to learn to read and write was to sign this deed in this place.
Yeah, but he ought to really learn to read the Bible.
We got preachers for that.
Well, bye, Jacob.
Bye.
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 But Christopher, don't you feel the call inside you to teach our children?
Certainly. But I believe that a man's call comes through his community.
Calling? Why do you have a calling and nobody else around here does?
calling.
They all have a calling.
Christopher, they just farm and raise their families. That's no calling.
Sure, that's a calling. To raise children well is a great calling.
Then you should raise our 2 daughters well and stay home and farm. They don't care, Christopher. They don't care about your calling. They don't care what you do.
So one fall, I just didn't open up the schoolhouse.
Christopher, when the French and the English and the Indians all start to fight in this country, then our people will know how badly they need you to train our children. But you see, you've got to go back to the classroom before they see that need. The crop you raise, Christopher, in our community won't be harvested as soon as flax or corn. But it's worth so much more.
A few years later, as the flames of ever-recurring war between France and England threatened, there was a gathering of concern in the home of a Mennonite minister. Among them were Dealman Kolb, Dealman's nephew Isaac Kolb, and Yellis Castle, Bishop Henry Funk, miller along the Indian Creek, the first Mennonite author in America. They were trying to find a way to get a huge book printed for the instruction of their young people. Entitled The Martyrs Mirror, it had been assembled among the Mennonites of Holland and received a magnificent 2-volume illustrated edition in 1685. The sheer size of the project was the main problem, but the Mennonite ministers of Pennsylvania persisted doggedly in their desire to pass their tradition of Christian non-resistance on to the younger generation.
Hello. Did you come along with the ministers?
Yeah.
And what's your name?
Michael?
And is this your brother?
Yeah, Dillman.
Dealman Cobb's grandson, huh?
Yeah.
And you're the mischievous one, aren't you?
Me?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Are you Funk's new servant?
Yes, from Carterlarton.
Bet you never went Albridge hunting over there.
Elbridge hunting?
Yeah, little animals that you catch in bags. Really good to eat.
Elbridges?
Sure, you want to go hunting with us? We'll show you how. You stand out in the woods with a bag, and we drive them in. We'll get the bag.
Elbridges.
This Martyrs Mirror is our heritage, and our children are never going to learn to read the Dutch language.
You know, I think of our children every time I hear news of the war. There seems to be a different spirit these days.
Hey, Grandpa, we're taking you Mixer and Elbridge hunting tonight. Got a bag, Henry?
Oh, I guess you can find one on the threshing floor. How many do you need?
One.
A big, fat one. Those boys aren't in school these days.
I'm trying to convince Christopher Dock to go back into teaching.
Would you be a teacher? For a low pay and no thanks?
Well, I'm just telling him what God is telling him.
The boys are taking the Elbridge hunting tonight.
You know, I'm worried. We haven't heard from home, and we've written to them twice. I'm beginning to think that the job is just too big for them, translating and printing the Martyrs Mirror. Ephrata, I hear they're talking about printing it.
Why would they want to print our book?
Well, they are non-resistance like we are.
You and Dillman here can both read Dutch. Well, you could check every page. And if it's not a true translation, we wouldn't have to buy it.
I think we ought to look into this.
Bishop Henry Funk and his friend, the minister Dealman Kolb, came together to make the trip to the Ephrata Cloister, home of the eccentric Dunkard leader Conrad Beissel, to negotiate for the massive project of translating, printing, and binding the 1,400-page Martyrs Mirror. As they traveled, they must have spoken about the rising tensions in Pennsylvania. Perhaps they talked about Benjamin Franklin's distrust of the Germans, or the incident in a tavern where Dealman's nephew Isaac had acted by instincts most people considered normal, but which made an embarrassing story in the neighborhood.
You know, we may have to do something about all these Germans in Pennsylvania. They don't understand English laws. Their way of life is different from ours. And they always vote with the Quakers so that we can't get a militia organized to protect ourselves against the French.
true. But they have the best farms in the colonies. And they make no trouble.
Yes, we need them. But they're so ignorant. They wouldn't care if the French came in and took over. That's treason in a certain respect.
When they just want to be left alone and raise their families in peace?
That's just the point. Their farms are rich, and that tempts the French invaders. And the rest of us have to protect them.
I never thought of it that way. That's a Mennonite over there. Isaac Cole, a very strong man. They call him Strong Isaac Cole.
Wow. Isaac Cole himself. The Mennonite who's afraid. Afraid to fight? Hmm? Isaac Cole, the coward.
Calm yourself, friend.
Calm myself? I don't take orders from no cowards. You Dutch Mennonites are really cowards. You won't fight and you won't swear to an oath. You're all stupid and ignorant.
We're not cowards.
You calling me a liar? You just stand back there and let the French and the Indians come and take our lands. And then you'd sit back and think that you were better than anybody else, wouldn't you, huh?
Go easy, man.
Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't bother with you. You Mennonites are just stupid and afraid. Fat for muscle.
Just sit down and mind your own business.
Don't you tell me what to do. Come on, Cole, let's see that Mennonite temper. Come on. Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Hey, that chair costs 20 shillings.
The appearance of such a spirit among their young men added urgency to the errand of Henry Funk and Dealman Kolb. At the end of their 60-mile journey, they found a sectarian Protestant monastery, inhabited by defectors from Pennsylvania's many other faiths. Henry and Dealman sought out the most learned member of the cloister, Peter Miller, who had joined the community in 1735. The Mennonite ministers hardly knew what to expect from the inhabitants of this strange monastery, about which so many rumors were afloat. They were gratified by the warm reception given them by Peter Miller, and by his disclosure that he himself had already begun a translation of the Martyrs Mirror, and that he would be happy to work out arrangements for a joint publication based on a promise of widespread purchase among the Mennonites. Miller, who some years earlier had served as a Reformed minister in Skippack, but had now joined the cloister, taking the name of Brother Jabez, assured the cautious Mennonite ministers that they need have no fear as to the accuracy of translation.
Father Friedson, we have 2 Mennonite visitors here on important business.
Welcome, brethren. Welcome to Ephrata. Are ye brethren in the true fellowship of Christ, the Rose of Sharon?
Yes.
Baptized in the true Christian manner?
Yes.
Immersed 3 times in running water?
No.
Well, you're welcome here. You can be taught.
Father Friedson, this is Henry Funk.
What? The Mennonite expert in baptism? Do you know who I am?
No.
Those who have not tasted of the celestial mysteries here in Ephrata call me Conrad Faisal.
Oh, Brother Conrad, we've heard a great deal about you. We've come to ask a favor of your fellowship.
You may join our fellowship upon baptism.
Well, that's not what we had in mind. We're here to discuss a translation of the Martyrs Mirror.
Oh, we're quite interested in that. But you should talk to Brother Jabez. I just stopped by to pick up my singing school book. The brothers and sisters are waiting for me over in the stall. Take care of our brethren.
I'll do that, Father Friedson.
not eating any animal food. I see we have 2 Mennonite brethren with us. You should sing like the virgins espoused to Christ, so that they might taste of the honey of paradise. Shall we sing the lovely hymn, God, the ruler of the heathen? Sister Maria, Sister Anastasia, must you sing so roughly? Do you not respect the divine authority when I ask you to sing with sweet voices? You must humiliate the flesh, mortify it, crucify it. Now let's sing with the essence of the Spirit. Start again.
Now stand still, you stupid animal.
Christopher! How are you, Isaac?
All right, except for this stupid heifer. Uncle Dealman hasn't trained her yet. I sure wish he'd get back from Ephrata so he could milk his own cows.
Yeah, I thought he'd be back by now. I'm making my rounds trying to get a group together to build a barn on my property next week.
Yeah?
I guess you might know I'd be to your place next. Nobody wants to build a barn around here without strong Isaac Hogg.
Yeah, that's all anyone knows about me, that I'm strong. Now sit still, you!
Oh, it's good to rejoice in the strength that God gives us.
Yeah, but what good's your strength if your temper keeps getting in the way? I guess you heard the talk going around about how I disgraced the Mennonites on my way to Philadelphia.
You mean with the drunken man in the tavern?
Yeah. Wasn't a very good example for the youth, was it? I wasn't at all like you when you were cursed on the road to Skipack.
I had no reason to be angry with that man.
It may be easy for you to just talk kindly to those people, but it's not for me. It's not human nature.
It's not human nature, but it's Christ's nature, and we're supposed to imitate that.
Yeah, but you can carry that too far. Did you hear about that Amish family up near Blue Mountain, the Hostettlers?
Yeah.
Those Indian bloodsuckers scalped a few and took the rest away. Now nobody knows where they are. And, you know, I heard that nobody fired a shot. And a couple of those boys were perfect shots. I mean, when savages, animals come at you, you've got to get them. Now sit still or I'll break your leg.
I think you can make it over to the barn raising.
Sure, you know I wouldn't miss a frolic. Oh, you stupid animal.
Here, let me try to arrange things with Molly. Molly's a good cow. Molly's hungry, right, Molly? Here you are, Molly. Yeah, Molly likes good hay. Molly's gonna let Christopher milk it. Uh-huh. Now. Yeah.
This calf sure is hungry.
All right. Let him have it.
Isaac, are you in there?
Yeah.
Christopher, I thought that was your horse out front. What are you doing here?
Did you have success out at Ephrata?
The Lord gave us a good agreement. And with your talent for handling children. Listen, Christopher, we're going to get the Martyrs Mirror.
Good.
It may take a year or two, but we'll have it.
Mm-hmm.
But what good will it do our children if they can't read?
In October of 1739, Dealman Kolb's brother Jacob, an influential deacon in the church, was killed while pressing cider, and left a large gap in the Mennonite community.
Our people have come to this land flowing with milk and honey, and our brother Jacob was taken away from this land while pressing out the rich juices of our soil. It is a heavy blow to our fellowship. His godly influence is needed, especially in this day. There are many voices of many sects in Pennsylvania now. Some say we must be baptized thus and so. Some say that all Christians should be united together under their banner. Some say that there should be no meeting houses, no visible church. Some say that we must worship on Saturdays and not eat meat. How greatly we must pray that God will raise up a strong voice to unite us.
I will only add a few words to what Brother Henry has said. My beloved brother, Jacob, my brother in the flesh and in the spirit, is gone. Beloved, we're living in perilous times. We must wonder from time to time, as we see people coming into our land, bringing swearing and quarreling and materialism. Did we make a mistake, brethren, in bringing our families across the water? No. My brother Jacob, called, is gone. Taken from us by an accident in his daily work. May God's will be done. But we pray him to raise up someone to instruct our children in the way of the cross that our forefathers taught us.
You aren't thinking about mowing this afternoon?
I was talking to Samuel Landis this morning. He tells me his 10-year-old boy can't read.
I guess you've been talking to Dillman, too.
I can't stand neglecting the children much longer. We may have war in another year. I feel the hand of God on me.
Oh, you taught for 10 years? Now we farmed for 10 years. You ought to know what you want to do.
All right, students. I think we have enough time for some recitation yet by the ABC students. So will you put your books back and the ABC students recite, so the other students may turn to your desks and practice writing or continue to read. Mary Steiner, would you stand? Call out the letters as I point to them.
F.
You want to come a little closer, Mary?
P. Z. S. E. I.
Very good, Mary. That was perfect. I'll put a stroke beside your name. You may be seated. Philip Kratz.
D.
Let him think. You want to try again, Philip?
J. Damn you. Oh, you swore.
Philip. What did you say to Abram?
Damn you.
Do you know what that means, Philip?
Yes.
What?
It means you shouldn't do that.
Do you know what else it means, Philip?
No.
It means go to hell. Do you want Abram to go to hell?
Yes. No. Yes.
Where did you hear that word, Philip?
Our servant said it to the horses.
Does he say it to you?
No.
Philip?
What?
You may not say that word here at school. You may not swear in school. And you should never swear. You may sit down. Jacob and John? Which do you prefer? Sit up front or shake hands?
Shake hands.
John?
Shake hands.
Michael? Which will it be? Sitting up on the punishment bench or a rap on the hand? A rap. Hold out your hand. You may sit down.
And if I truly please my God, this is my highest honor, and this is my desire, and this is my delight. Although I may not please all men, if I may only please my God, this is my true desire and my delight.
Well, children, I believe it's about time to close up school for the day. We'll sing a song yet, one of those I've written for you. Listen to the words, then sing with me. O children, would you cherish a worthy, lasting love? O children, would you cherish a worthy, lasting love? The good that does not perish is only found above. The good that does not perish is only found above. Seek God, the highest goal, with spirit and with soul. Seek God, the highest goal, with spirit and with soul. Then you will find a pleasure the heart cannot control. Then you will find a pleasure the heart cannot control. All right, God bless you. If anyone has a letter for one of the students at the school at Salford, bring it up to me and I'll take it there tomorrow where I'll be teaching. Then I'll see you again next Monday. Now you may go, but I'd like for Michael Ziegler and Christian Allebach and Mary Steiner to stay and speak with me. Here's a reward for you, Mary, for your perfect ABCs today.
A bird. Thank you.
You're welcome. And one thing more. May I have your hand? I'd like to make a chalk mark, a 0. That means none wrong in ABCs today. Show it to your mother and tell her she must fry 2 eggs for you.
Oh, I like eggs so much.
You're a fine student, Mary. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Michael? I don't like to wrap your hands, Michael. But you know how I told you 3 times to let the girls alone so that they could study? Is that right?
I guess so.
I have a special love for you, Michael. You're one of my favorite students. But there must be order in the classroom so that students can learn. Have I offended you, Michael?
No.
Were you going to school before I opened up this school?
A little.
Would you like to learn to read and write well? Good afternoon, Dealman. Come in.
Hello, Michael. Take your time, Christopher. I can wait.
My discipline can restrain you, Michael. But only God can change your heart. A boy like you can go up or down in life because you have such a quick mind. I'll help you all I can to find the right way. Here we go.
I'll study my lessons tomorrow.
Thank you, Michael. Maybe you'll get the reward for the day. Michael? Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Dealman! I thought you'd be planting corn this afternoon.
Well, I was down at Clemens Mill, and I had a message for you. So I thought while he's grinding my flour, I'd come up and talk to you. Tell me, was Michael raising mischief again today?
Somewhat. He isn't used to sitting yet.
I'm so thankful he's in your school. Well, I got a letter from Christopher Sauer, you know, the printer.
Yeah. I know what he wants. He was one of my pupils when I taught school in Germantown years ago.
Well, he wanted me to ask you to sort of write a description of how you deal with children. You know, something for him to publish.
I know. But I really don't feel that I have any special methods.
Of course you do, Christopher. Why, it's remarkable how much Michael's reading has improved in this short while.
It's good.
Your reputation must be getting out.
Oh, I had such a battle with myself. before I found my vocation again, that I don't want to get confused again.
How do you mean?
Well, I think I left teaching in the first place because I was concerned about what people thought. I think the reason farming looked so attractive to me was that all my neighbors were doing it. It was the thing to do. By looking outside of myself, I lost my own calling. You understand that.
What does that have to do with writing a book?
Being motivated by a desire to be noticed by the world. I'm afraid to let that motive back in my life after what it did to me once.
Well, now, wait a minute, brother. You can overdo even a virtue, you know, like humility. People began to think Henry Funk and I were being too pushy for wanting the Martyrs Mirror translated into German. But someone must take the initiative. You know, the training has to go on.
I could use the Martyrs Mirror for teaching here in the school. Are you making progress on it?
Well, we're not sure. You know, Henry and I are going over to Ephrata tomorrow.
Peter Miller told his visitors that the immense task of translation and printing the Martyrs Mirror had permitted him no more than 4 hours of sleep a night for several years. A number of members had actually left the cloister, complaining of overwork on the project. And well they might. It was the biggest publishing venture of the colonial era. Dealman and Henry reported, after reading the proofs page by page, that the translation was a true one. The day of their hopes finally came 220 years ago.
Well, we would have finished this job a while ago. Oh, this is the last line, then I will be finished. We would have finished this job a while ago, but we have had such a quarrel in the Brotherhood over how big our new men's hall should be.
A quarrel?
Yes, a quarrel. Some brethren even left the fellowship. Some wanted it 66 feet long, some wanted it 99 feet long, and some 100.
What did you decide then?
99.
How did you arrive at that decision?
Well, you see here. If this one stands for men and this 0 stands for God or infinity, if you then make something 66 feet long, and you have 66 here, then God is below man, which dishonors God. But when you make it 100, then this one or man stands before God. It's not right either. But if you make it 99, then God is above man. That's the way it should be, and that is the length we finally arrived at.
I hope you got the size right on the Martyrs Mirror.
Oh, yeah.
You say this book is finished now?
Yes, now it's finished. It's the first out of 1,200.
May it bring the message of Christ to our brotherhood. Dealman, we live to see it completed in our children's tongue.
The Bloody Theater, or Martyrs Mirror, of the Anabaptists, or Weaponless Christians. Look here. Ephrata, Pennsylvania, 1748. Wait a minute. Henry, here's a picture of Christ being baptized by immersion in the Jordan River. They sneaked some of their ideas of immersion on us. Listen, Brother Gottlieb, we can't use this picture in this book.
We needn't have bind it in for the books you Mennonites buy.
Oh, you mean that it can be left out altogether?
Yes, we'll not find it in.
Look, Henry, look. I remember this story. There was an Anabaptist named Jan Smit who worked as a rower on a boat in the Zuider Zee. He was imprisoned as a Protestant after capture by the Spanish Catholic soldiers and taken as a heretic to Amsterdam. When the sea battle broke out between Amsterdam and Haarlem, the prisoners were required to serve as oarsmen on the boats. But when Jan Smit was taken to the rower's bench, he said he would not pull the oar in a battle since he had no enemies. They then suspected him of being a Mennonite, and when they found that this was true, they took him before the son of the Duke of Alva, who sentenced him to be hanged from the gallows by one leg until dead.
That man was stupid.
Why?
Because he could have rowed for the soldiers. He wouldn't have actually done any killing.
Well, boys, you see, that kind of radical behavior is your heritage. That's what it means to be a Mennonite. To follow Christ to death if necessary, and to acknowledge no one as our enemies.
They shoot at me, I shoot back.
Don't do that, Michael. Never point a gun at a human being.
That's right, Dillman. Never shed man's blood. You see, when Christ's blood flowed, that was meant to end all other human bloodshed forever. I know very few people believe that, but that's the story of this book. You see, it tells the story of how my ancestors and your ancestors' blood flowed 200 years ago. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Are you going to pass that blood on unstained?
I don't know.
What's that, Michael?
Well, that means no mistakes in reading today.
Oh, Christopher Dock put it there?
Yeah.
You're to be commended, Michael. I'm so glad you're in his school. Just watch him. He's got the spirit of love I'm talking about.
Where parents discipline their children out of sincere love, God's blessing will be evident. For love, discipline, and instruction in the Lord together form a threefold cord, which is not easily broken. I must thank God that after He called me to teaching, He gave me the grace of a special love for youth. Without this love, it would be an intolerable burden to be among youth. May the Lord overlook my neglect of the youth for the 10 years I set aside my vocation. I am willing to write here of my methods of school management, but I have a fear that it will seem that I wish to gain a reputation among men. No, I confess that my only concern is how I may carry out my calling, so that I can receive a commendation from the great shepherd of the sheep.
When Christopher died in October of 1771, he was a very old man. It was said that he was found on his knees in the schoolhouse where he had been praying for his pupils. He was one of the quiet people in the land. His little gravestone carries only the inscription, 1771 Christopher Dock, Schoolmaster. It isn't much of a monument, but his name lives at a nearby school named for him, where his example of spiritual concern for the youth of his community still touches generations of students. The teachings he gave those pupils are alive today in the visitor center called the Meeting House at Harleysville. Here, young visitors can see Isaac Kolb's personal copy of the Martyrs Mirror, bought by him in February 1752. In the Fraktur room, they can imagine what it was like to be in school when Christopher was teacher. Hanging on the wall, they can see one of the rewards he gave to a pupil. And if they graduate from the school named for him, their diploma will always remind them of the schoolmaster on the skipjack.